Hello, you guys. Obviously, the first minutes always goes to making sure that my microphone is working, making sure that you guys can basically hear me as well, because I don't want to. Oh my God, you can hear it. Make sure that you guys can hear me, basically. And then once I can see that you guys can hear me, we can go on to the stream as per usual. I see some people already have comments here, but I kind of just want you guys to let me know that you can hear me so I can get on with the stream, because there was actually a lot of news today and yesterday that were boxing related. So that's what I want to talk about, especially the whole Ryan Garcia thing. Benavidez went on live with PBC on Instagram. What else happened? Barretta versus Jesse Mcdoleno bidding thing was on today as well. So there's a couple of things going on and that need to be talked about, of course. Okay, hello, Jem. Um, so let's talk about Ryan Garcia. That's what I'm going to get started with today. As we know, though the WBC already officially posted that the fight was going to be a done deal, we have yet to hear anything from Ryan, Oscar, Golden Boy, or Luke Campbell himself. And that is because the bidding thing was actually extended for 7 days because they want to come onto an actual agreement, obviously, probably purses and everything like that. So, just like the WBC already made it official, 7-day extension. Both Eddie Hearn and the Golden Boy team want to make sure that both fighters have what they want in negotiations. So, though it's official, basically, technically, it's official through the WBC, and per the WBC, it has yet to be official because the contract's still not signed. So it's basically a verbal agreement that they decided to. And though the Zoom meeting was to go ahead and discuss all that, they did ask for a 7-day extension, basically, to figure all the details out. Now, I am very, very happy that Brian, that Ryan Garcia is actually taking the Luke Campbell fight, and a lot of people were doubting that he would. I know a lot of people were saying that he would not fight Luke Campbell, that he would go and fight, somebody else not at the caliber of Luke Campbell. And I'm pretty stoked that Ryan's taking those steps to have some decent opposition. I'm not saying his opposition was bad, but it did leave a lot to be desired for from the fans stands, So I think even though the Linares fight didn't happen, Luke Campbell is actually, in my opinion, a little bit of a better opponent than Linares. If you guys remember when they announced that Linares could possibly be Ryan's step up fight, a lot of people were saying that it wasn't good enough, that Linares had already been down before, that Linares was already, the word that people love to use is washed, right? So I'm not necessarily mad that the fight with Linares fell off if it means that we get Ryan versus Luke Campbell. I actually think Luke Campbell has a better chin than Linares. And like most people mentioned, Linares has been down before by Cano, even though that was at 140. It was at 140, right? Yeah. And, Lomachenko put him down, but it's Lomachenko now with a body shot. But I would have expected, I think, Ryan to have an easier time with Linares than with Luke Campbell. So I'm pretty excited, and I hope this fight does happen. I know they asked for an extension. I hope that this week they get it figured out and they can finally, everybody, put that shit on all social media. Like, hey, Luke Campbell versus Ryan Garcia, it's on. I know Ryan wants more money. He wants kind of in the ballpark of what Devin Haney is making, and of course, right now due to quarantine and the zone not having the funds to kind of give that to him. We'll see how that goes, but I would hate to see this fight be another fight that doesn't get made because of money. However, the WBC already posted it, so they might as well do it. Shout out to Sean from Just Boxing. What do you guys think of the Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell situation? What I've seen that Ryan has previously posted on Instagram is, I want Luke Campbell, blah, blah, blah. And you know how he has friends and he's friends with the YouTuber guys that fought on the zone. What are they called? Uh, what are they called? Uh, I don't know their names, but the guys that fought KSI and the other guy, Logan Paul. Logan Paul and Jake Paul actually commented, and they were like, "Oh, he's gonna make him into Campbell soup," which I feel like it's the easiest insult to make for him. But hey, what are you gonna do? Also, Benavidez went on live with Premier Boxing on Instagram, and it was pretty. It was a pretty good live. I stayed up for most of it, not up, but I was watching most of it, and basically, he was talking about how he's not taking his opponent lightly, and even though it's not, the opponent a lot of people would want, it is quarantine, right? And he is fighting Alexis Angulo. If you don't remember Alexis Angulo, he's the guy that recently upset Sims Jr. If you remember Sims Jr., he's on the zone. I'm pretty sure he's matching in the zone. And hello, Jorge or George, whichever you prefer. What was he saying? Sims Jr. is actually was 168. He was fighting. He was undefeated, fighting in the zone, and he was upset by Angulo. And this was recently, and now he's fighting Benavidez. Benavidez obviously said he wants Caleb Plant. I would love to see him against Caleb Plant. I think that fight would be fireworks because of the trash talk alone during the press conferences. However, I think that is a fight that I would want to wait for COVID to be not a thing anymore, because I do want to see that fight. I do want to see that fight in person. Like, that would be amazing. As we know in that card too, I think Ruiz is fighting too for an interim belt, which would probably catapult him to an actual shot at a title. And he takes on social media a lot as well to say stuff like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a title before Ryan Garcia." I don't know why he cares about who gets it first or what, but that's how he's promoting himself. So that's the card this weekend on PBC. I know a lot of people don't like PBC, but I'm really looking forward to that fight and just to have boxing on Saturday again, period. Now, another thing that was on today all over the timeline is the fact that today, I think it was today. Is today the 11th? Yes, today was the bidding for Emanuela Barretta versus Jesse Mcdoleno for the vacant title at 126. Now, that's the title that Shakur Stevenson vacated, and Navarrete and Jesse Mcdoleno are supposed to be fighting for it sometime in October, if I'm not mistaken. Now, that fight is really interesting to me because, as we know, they both recently moved up in weight. They both moved up from super bantamweight, being champions at super bantamweight, and are now trying out a title at featherweight. Now, as we know, Jesse Mcdoleno lost his title to Isaac Dogbe, and that was actually his last fight at super bantamweight before moving up. Since then, he's faced Rivera, right? What's his name? I forgot his first name, but he was actually the first one to knock that guy down. And that guy had fought Jojo Diaz, Leo Santa Cruz, and nobody had knocked him down. Very rugged dude. I believe he's from Thompson's stable. And Jesse McClellan was actually able to put him down. However, I do think that Navarrete, especially going up, he already had power. He was actually one of the bigger guys at super bantam. So now with him, being able to not have to cut weight that much probably brings him more power, which in my opinion should be a little bit of a concern to Jesse McClellan, who has been knocked out before, as he was with Dogbe. And I know that's his only loss, but it'll be interesting to see how that fight goes and who rests victorious, especially since both of the guys are top rank. J8 says excited to see Rolly. Now, of course, Rolly is going to be in that undercard for Benavidez versus Angulo. And again, this is for, I believe it's a WBA interim, if I'm not mistaken, right? So for that, again, that might give him a chance to get him a closer to getting an actual title shot. So I believe that fight is at 130. And as we know, the 130 division, it's a pretty great one right now. I know most people know Rolly because of the sparring session he had with Ryan Garcia, where he was very dominant in, and that's how he's been remained mostly relevant through that and his knockouts that he has in the ring. He fights recently. He's been fighting on Showbox, and this one is going to be on Showtime. Right? Is this one going to be on Showtime or Fox? No, it's Fox. So this one's Fox on Fox PBC. So it's free, you guys. Free. Hook up your TV antenna if you don't have cable, and it will be free on Fox. Now, Luis says, I'm going to. Oh, Lord, I didn't see this. I need to read the comments before I put them on here. Sinaloa Plebes. Okay. So, yeah, those are actually like one of the news that have been going around in the timeline. Now, there's a lot of fights that also we want to get made, but most people want to wait until COVID is over. Now, in my opinion, I think we won't be having fans in live events until next year, which kind of gives us a little bit of anxiety, at least me, because I would love to see these big fights. And I know people complain about the fights that are happening right now, even though, in my opinion, they've been getting better and better. A lot of people really want to see, big elite fighting cards. And now I don't think it's going to happen with no fans because people want that money that comes with having a gate. Now, Canelo is a big topic to discuss right now that we have this pandemic, schedule, because when is Canelo going to fight? And with Canelo, it's like he's losing a year of his, in his prime to this pandemic. And as we know, Billy Joe Saunders, basically said he wouldn't fight Canelo right now. So it leaves him, I'm pretty sure anybody would sign up just to be in the ring with Canelo, but the way he gets criticized for his opposition, even though his opposition has been pretty fucking good, in my opinion, I feel like if he were to fight randoms, quote unquote, it would also give him even more negative publicity. I think some easier fights to be made would probably be against Lemieux at 168 because Lemieux was also there with the Golden Boy stable. I know they were trying to say Quigley. Remember Quigley? He's like 160 and he's on Golden Boy. He got knocked out, I think, not too long ago at Fantasy Springs. I know he had a comeback victory, which was at the Orange County Fairgrounds. But I really hope, for the sake of Quigley, that fight doesn't happen. I know he wants it. I know he's tweeted about it. He's been like, hey, like I would love to fight Canelo, or Canelo, I'm ready, or some shit like that. Canelo would decapitate this guy. And I don't think it's in his best interest to be asking for that fight, in my opinion. John Silva says, what up? What up? Jay says Rolly needs to improve his defense and not just look headhunt. Well, the thing is with Rolly and headhunting is that his I guess catchphrase is sign up for KO. So when you say sign up for KOs, you're kind of branding yourself around your knockout power and your knockout. So whenever he starts facing better competition, and maybe he won't be able to knock out all of them, especially not immediately, it might catch up to him. Look at what happened with Greer, right? Josh Greer, who recently had an upset loss as well on one of the top ranked bubble cards. He would bring a pillow to the ring and say stuff like "Don't blink," and then as the opposition improved, he stopped knocking people out with that much frequency, which kind of gives your like branding a little bit of like a question mark, because he was not knocking people out anymore. And then in his last victory, he lost, so. Jorge Leva says, Plant versus Benavidez is the one I want to see. I would love to see that. I think the minute that's announced, I'm going to like do a backflip like Teofimo Lopez, because the trash talk would be immaculate for that. And they're already trash talk right now. The few fights I've seen Rolly's in, he looks really sluggish. Is that style? What's going on with that? I'm not sure if that's his style. I've seen him a couple times live as well, since I did cover one when he was fighting in Showbox in Las Vegas for in November, I believe. I think he just does that as well because he knows the level of opposition that he's faced with. He has an easy advantage over, and that's just my guess. It's hard without the fans because the money built on gates instead of baseball were built on TV contracts. I agree. I'm pretty sure they get a lot of money just from the gate, you know? So with fighters that are like Canelo or just any top champions, you just kind of want to see them, you know, in person. You miss the atmosphere. Yes, TV's cool. Yes, they got that whole "oh hear me cheer" thing, and they have like random like people cheering, like sounds and stuff. Which I mean, if you're gonna have a crowd noise like pre-recorded, might as well add all types of people. Like add the drunk person yelling random shit, at the person that's always yelling directions, like if they're like in the fucking fighter's corner and shit. I feel like we need some we definitely need some variety, right? Not just like woo, yeah, let's go. We need like someone being really really like passionate. um yes, my shirt is Steve Willis, thank you for noticing. The guy who makes this just disappeared off the face of social media. So I would love to tell you guys where I got it from. It was all in boxing, but he just disappeared. And it makes me sad because I have a bunch of his shirts. Campbell beats Garcia, but for Luke to get decision against Golden Boy new cash cow, he will need to be utterly dominant, which won't happen. My prediction, Luke will win but get robbed. That's a pretty nice prediction, Ben Lowe. It also depends, I think, where the fight happens. I think it's gonna happen here. It's gonna be local. I think might be, you know, I don't, a lot of people are saying Staples Center, but if there's not going to be a crowd, I really doubt that they would rent out, you know, the Staples Center just to have a fight there with no fans. You know what I mean? So I think it would probably be Indio just because it's small. Fantasy Springs has been the home of Ryan Garcia for the majority of his fights. And I don't think that it would be that expensive to have him back there with no gate. You know what I mean? So I think since it is going to be here, that's a really decent prediction. Campbell, as we know, gave Lomachenko really decent fight. I didn't think he was like, oh, you know, like he almost beat Lomachenko. Yes, he had Lomachenko struggling a little bit because of size, in my opinion, mostly. But he did not give up. You know, he was relentless in his approach to try to beat Lomachenko. So I'm definitely intrigued to see how he does against Garcia. And as we know, and as I told you guys earlier, I think Campbell's a much more live dog in this fight than an older Linares would be. I mean, I think him and Linares are only 2 years apart. If I'm not mistaken, Campbell's 32 and Linares is 34. But as I said earlier, you know, Campbell's been knocked, I believe he's only been knocked down by Linares. You know, and that was like back when they fought, probably at 2017 or 2018. I don't remember. 2017, I think. And, you know, that was the deciding factor. A big part of the deciding factor why Linares beat him is because of the knockdown. It wasn't like super, you know, dominant in Linares' part. So I think Campbell is a live dog in this fight. Jay Ace says Luke Campbell didn't do bad versus Loma. No, he didn't. You know, I think he did way better than most of us were expecting. Like I said, I think it mostly is because of the size advantage that he had. But he's also a former Olympian, so we got to put a little bit of respect in Campbell's name. You know, yes, he was kind of, I guess, underrated, but not really rated at all. Like he wasn't in our radars because not only is he from the UK, but that division is stacked with good names. And Luke Campbell's the type of guys who gives everybody a good fight but doesn't really stand out when there's so many people in the division. I think the Lomachenko fight definitely brought him more fans and more eyes to him and who he is as a fighter. What do you think of David Haney winning Frank Gamboa? I didn't see that. I had not seen that. Did he tweet that? Give me the deets, Victor. Old Gamboa. I mean, well, if you remember, when Tank fought Gamboa, he said something about, oh, Gamboa told me I was, you know, a warrior or the best he's ever fought or something like that. And then Gamboa was like, I didn't say that. Like I said, like good fight. And it was the funniest shit I had seen on Twitter. What are your thoughts on Garcia's Suspense? I think he has all the elements. I think that's a really good fight. Not the fight that I think we asked for, because we know whenever anybody mentions either Spence or Crawford, their names come up. So if you say Spence, Crawford's gonna come up immediately. When you say Crawford, Spence gonna come up immediately. So I think we want Crawford versus Spence, but this is like when you order something at a restaurant and they don't bring you what you ordered, but you're just like, okay, whatever, I'll eat this anyway, type of shit. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm not mad at this fight. I think all PBC fighters at 147 could fight each other and it'd make very decent fights, but not what we want. Like, not what we really want, you know? So, I think Garcia's has that no-look hook that could definitely catch Spence. And then the whole thing that intrigues me about Spence is the fact that obviously he hasn't fought since he got in a car accident, you know? And since September? When he fought Porter? It was September, if I'm not mistaken. So, hey, you know, we're not getting the best of possible fights, but again, it's quarantine. It's really good for quarantine. And as you guys remember, Danny Garcia supposedly was also supposed to fight Pacquiao, but who knows? And as we know, Pacquiao also has one more fight in contract with PBC and with Al Heyman and stuff, and then he will become a free agent once again, which I'm pretty sure is going to be very interesting given the fact that I'm pretty sure Manny's not retiring anytime soon, especially not during a pandemic. So I'm going to be very excited to see who he's going to fight after he leaves the PBC stable. Might go in again. Who knows? Speaking of free agents, Regis Prograis is actually parting ways with Lou DiBella, and it makes it a really nice conversation to have because Regis is a really good asset to any promotional company, and I'm really intrigued to see who's going to be throwing him money and who's going to give him the best offer, because as we know, it all depends, in my opinion, because if he wishes to remain at 140 still for a nice piece of his career, he should definitely, it would make sense. I don't want to say he should definitely. It would make sense for him to sign with Top Rank, because Top Rank has, of course, Jose Ramirez, who has 2 of the belts, and they just recently acquired Josh Taylor, who has the other 2 belts, one which he took from Regis. So I think it would make the most sense for him to, if he still wishes to be pursuing the belts at 140, to go to Top Rank. You know, now, if he wants to move up in weight and go to 147, obviously, PBC, you know, Al Heyman. Go to Al Heyman because he's got all the 147 dudes. You know, and Regis, who knows what he wants to do? Who knows what he's thinking? Now, a lot of people on Twitter also think that he's going to go with DAZN. Because as we know, he was there for the World Boxing Super Series. He's worked on DAZN before, had cards. He was supposed to have the card with Hooker on DAZN. So this is wine in a Starbucks cup, if you guys wonder how ratchet I am. Yeah. So who do you guys think he should go with? Like, honestly, Regis, or as Spence says, the Regis Prograis, is a great asset to. I'm pretty sure we're going to be throwing out money at him left and right. I really care right now is Loma Lopez. I need it this year. I'm jumping off a cliff. Now, as we know, it was very public that Lomachenko actually took a pay cut for the fight to be made. Like, he agreed to take a pay cut so that they would offer him what they offered him, Lopez. And I just hope Lopez does come to his senses and say yes to this fight, because the older Loma gets, it won't be the same type of victory. If he beats Lomachenko right now, I think we were all going to be very impressed. That's some elite shit, but except the people that think Lomachenko's a hype job, which in my opinion, get out of boxing because you don't know shit. I'm usually not this mean, but that's what I'm like, y'all are weird. If Lomachenko gets older and older, how old is he? 32 right now. The victory will be very. It's gonna get less and less impressive. You know what I mean? Because yes, you could be hella fucking good and you can be as good as Lomachenko and all of that, but age will definitely catch up to you. So I want to see it now. Lopez can stop Loma being dropped by lesser punchers. Well, of course, Lomachenko has obviously been dropped, as we know, by Linares, and he had a hell of a rough time with City Salido. So I'm really excited to see. I think Lopez, definitely, if there's anybody who can beat Lomachenko, especially at that weight class, is Lopez. Now, even if he loses, I don't think Lopez loses anything by losing to Lomachenko. I think he's still going to have a lot of momentum. I think he's still going to be a really, really good fighter that we're going to be praising, in the recent upcoming years. So even if he were to lose, I don't think he's gonna be like completely outclassed. I think it's gonna be a great fight, and that's why we want it so fucking bad. Right? Now Charlo versus Derevyachenko. Yes, I got it 50-50 as well. I think this is one of the best names that Charlo at 160 Charlo has faced. I'm really excited for this fight because, as we know, Derevyachenko gives everybody a fight. He fought for the IBF for the first time, I believe, against Jacobs, and that was a majority decision for Jacobs. So, he was close there, and then he fought a second time for the IBF title against Triple G. And most people, at least on Twitter that I saw, had him beating Triple G. They had him winning. As we know, he was dropped by Triple G, if I'm not mistaken, in the second or third round. So he got dropped early in the fight. There was a cut in the fight, and this dude kept going, and he puts on a good fight. Now, as we know, Charlo has power, but he's also more technical than just swinging on some bitches. Like he really stands forward, and he doesn't just stand forward. You know what I mean? He kind of moves around a little bit more. So I'm really excited to see how this fight's gonna go. And as we remember, Charlo versus Korobov, who is another guy that's Eastern European, whatever over there, all those countries. Was he from Kazakhstan too? I'm not sure, but he was from like East Europe, and it was just like a really close fight as well. And I think the reason why he lost that fight, Korobov, because he was older too. He was older, and he was a late replacement opponent for Willie Monroe, right? Willie Monroe Jr. So that was gonna be that fight wasn't even supposed to happen. So I would love to see Charlo versus Derevyachenko. That's probably one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most, as much as the other Charlo with Banana. So I'm excited. Ben Lowe says, I rate Prograis highly. Was ringside for the Taylor fight. Up and close, you can tell he was good power and the skills he has. The thing is, Ben, that I see is that I remember I watched this fight in TJ. Like, I was having margaritas at the beach. The zone, like, I'm like, oh shit, I wonder if the zone works here, because there's no zone in Mexico, right? So I was like, okay, I wonder if I'm close enough to the border to still get it. And I was. So I was watching it, and to me, it was a close fight. But to a lot of people I see, they're like, oh no, Taylor beat him like super, super easy. And a lot of people actually think that Taylor only got the nod because it was his home, right? They were in his territory. So in my opinion, I think it was a very, very close fight. I still had Taylor winning though, but it wasn't a lot. I see a lot of people think that he had him beat by far, and Taylor's just, in my opinion, a really large guy for the division. But shit, I'm excited to see both of them against Ramirez, whether it's Prograis or whether it's Taylor. I think Prograis, even though he did lose to Taylor, it wasn't a dominant type of defeat that will have us be like, man, like this dude was like whatever. Like if Taylor did that to him, whatever. As we know, Taylor's, in my opinion, if there's one guy, because here in the US, people talk shit about the UK fighters. I don't. I love me the UK fighters. I love them. Like, I love to see them. I watch them here at noon when the fights are on here in the afternoon. But there's that, US versus UK type of shit. And people are always talking shit about UK fighters, right? Because they want to side with the US fighters. But if there's one guy that I would feel like it's the real fucking deal, it's Taylor. Like, he's he's the shit. Jorge says the zone. Yeah, a lot of people think Regis is actually going to the zone. I just want to know who. I do feel a little bit bad for Lou DiBella because he doesn't have any other like fighters that have the prestigious name as Regis Progreris. So I'm not sure what's gonna go on with that, but a lot of fights happening, a lot of decent fights going on right now, and I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at the opposition, especially given the fact that we are in a quarantine. And I'm also not going to be mad, let's say, fighters don't look as impressive or fighters choose to go the distance or choose to get some rounds in, right? Because, hey, like, probably if there's a time to get rounds, especially since you're not sparring, you don't have access to sparring as per usual because of the pandemic. So they're probably taking that as a sparring session. Oh, another cool thing I saw. Panterita Neri. He actually tweeted this. It says starting camp with Ryan Garcia. And it's a picture of them, I don't think they're sparring because they're not doing using headgear, but they are, probably helping each other out. And that's pretty fucking cool. Like, as we know, Panterita Neri is trained with Eddie Reynoso. So does Ryan. So does Oscar Valdez. So does Carlos Martinez, his name? The little guy? Carlos or Oscar? What's his name? I feel bad. But no, Julio. Julio Martinez, the WBC champ, trains with him too. And so does obviously Oscar Valdez and Canelo. So this is pretty lit. I think Ryan Garcia is getting top notch, just training because he's with all these guys that, Neri's obviously smaller, but he is a big guy for his division, and he's obviously, was a champion. Is he a champion or he was? I know he got popped with Clan, I think. What did he get popped with? I know he got popped with something. It might have been Clan. He also never makes weight, which is like fucking pisses me off. And I just think it's strange, but also kind of like funny that Eddie Reynoso, he has all these guys, and at his stable, 3 guys popped for stuff. 2 of them for clenbuterol. I think Neri also popped for clenbuterol, but I'm not sure if he did. Did he pop for clenbuterol? Can you guys tell me what he popped for something? I remember that the WBC was like, no. But, like, Reynoso has 3 dudes in his camp that popped for stuff. Another thing that came up on social media today as well was it today or yesterday? I think today was El Profesor Franco. Josh Franco actually got his WBO. Is it WBO or WBA? Let me zoom in. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I think it's WBA or WBO. I don't know. He received his belt, okay? And, before we were all, at least a lot of people I know, were under the impression that when you won a belt, like, that was it. Like, you take it home that day. But no, like, apparently you get a whole new one. And the person who had it, initially they get to keep like a copy of it or their own belt just to remember that they were a champion, But so good shit for Josh Franco, who I thought had gotten the belt already. Prime Canelo versus Prime Mayweather. Who wins? I don't know. I don't like fantasy matchups. I don't like what ifisms. Like, I don't like that. It's not going to happen. Most of the time when we talk about like fighters that could have happened or that could, different generations, people get angry and people get like very like defensive and rude for no reason. Where it's like, it's just a what if, man. It's just a what if. Jay says, well, what is your prime Canelo? Canelo right now? Well, the thing is, depends which weight, because Canelo, I don't think he would go back down to 154, to fight Floyd or go down, period. Now, I know Canelo has improved astronomically since he faced Floyd. Like, that Floyd loss was, I think, a rite of passage for him almost to definitely step his motherfucking game up. And I don't know if Canelo would have turned into who he is today if he had not faced Floyd and taken that L, right? So it depends. It really depends, but Floyd is who he is. Obviously, another reason why I can't make like a proper prediction for this is because the fights that Floyd has had post retirement have all been against MMA fighters. So it's not that I could be like, what does Floyd look like right now? Is he still a threat like he was before? Because we have not seen him like that. We've seen him against MMA fighters who haven't done shit and don't know shit about boxing. So I Floyd doesn't. I mean, he shines because obviously he's going to be better than him. He's one of the best of our generation, fighting against guys who have never fucking stepped in a boxing ring before. So he did what he was supposed to do. I can't say if Canelo would beat him because I don't know what a current Mayweather right now looks like in the actual boxing ring. Canelo has obviously improved his skill in cutting off the ring and not just chasing around fighters like a fucking like a little puppy dog, puppy dog. So I'm not sure. Now, Benlo says, Prank cannot permit are different weight divisions. Canelo's 160 fighter. If they just fight without draining Canelo, Flo said he wins. That's probably the best way to put it. Canelo's not. I don't think Canelo would go down to 154. And if he would, it's very weight draining, in my opinion, especially after being at 175. He could probably go back down to 168 easy. A little bit more, trouble to go down to 160. And honestly, I just don't see that happening. I don't know if, now, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Canelo would want that? Do you guys think Canelo, for the sake of avenging a loss, would go down to 154? Or do it catch weight? I don't know. I wonder if Canelo would be down for that, or he would just be focused on, the whole, I want to be undisputed at whatever fucking weight class. WBA is black belt, IBF red. I'm going to screenshot this because I always forget. Like, I know the WBC because it's green, like mocos. And that's the only reason I remember. Jorge says, I saw rumors of Crawford versus Brooke floating around today. I wouldn't doubt it. Chocolate brownies. I wouldn't doubt it because, they're trying to get anybody probably, they know they're not going to get anybody PBC because of the whole stupid ass promotional bullshit. But Kell Brook is a decent name, in my opinion. A lot of people are not going to be happy with that because Kell Brook has lost to Spence. But it could be used as a measuring stick. It could be used as a measuring stick. Back then, when Spence fought Brook, he was obviously a little bit more, not a little bit, a lot of it, more dangerous than he is thought of now. When Spence fought him, he was a champion, right? So that was a really decent, not decent. Fuck am I talking about? A great victory for Spence, especially taking it in the UK. So obviously now Kell Brook is like, because he's been inactive, because of his laws, because he took that fucking punishment against Triple G for no reason, because why are you fighting Triple G? But it'd still be a nice measuring stick. And people are going to talk shit regardless. People that love Spence are going to say, oh, well, Kell Brook, like, he sucks now. Like, he's got 2 broken eye sockets. Like, of course Crawford's supposed to beat him, right? And people who like Crawford are just going to be like, well, if which I think he will, Crawford takes care of Brook faster than Spence did, then that's going to be their talking point, I don't know why people don't like both. I love Spence. I love Crawford. Like, I just want to see the fight. I don't give a fuck who wins. I just want to see the fight. WC agrees it must be the WBA. I think it's a WBA too. WBA, yeah, okay. See, he explained it to us. So nice, Ben Lowe. I don't even see Canelo going back down to 160. We move Canelo Triple G3. I mean, honestly, Eric, hello. That bumps me out, though. I truly love to see Canelo 160. I don't think he did enough at 160. Honestly, like, I think if there's a division that he could, the 168 division, in my opinion, is also like kind of up for grabs in the way that all champions have really relatively close talent. But at 160, I fuck with a bunch of 160 fighters, but I think Canelo beats them all. I think Charlo gives Canelo trouble for the first couple rounds, and then Canelo adapts and possibly stops him. Or no one's gonna win Canelo in the scorecards, as we know. So and and Boo Boo, I think Boo Boo again would give Canelo problems a couple rounds, and then Canelo would eventually, take care of him. I don't think Boo Boo has faced the opposition that is kind of great for a champion. He did receive the belt vacant because he was supposed to fight Billy Joe for it, but then Billy Joe kind of got popped for that nasal spray, whatever the fuck that is, and that didn't happen. That would have been a great name for Boo Boo should he have beat Billy Joe. I think Canelo versus Billy Joe would have been great too. Again, another technical fighter, moves, doesn't just stand there and want to get hit, but that would have been a great fight with Canelo. And I think, again, Canelo would have eventually adapted him and beat him. So I think Canelo, in my opinion, could have become undisputed at 160. Now 168, he obviously has Benavidez, he has Caleb Plant, he has who else is champion at 168? Who's his champion at 168? Benavidez, Caleb Plant. Who the fuck? Why am I not remembering right now? Oh, Caleb Smith. And who else? Who has the other belt? Caleb Smith, Caleb Plant, Benavidez. Who has the other 168 belt? Oh, Canelo? No, right? Not Canelo, because Canelo has like an interim. Canelo has the one that he got from Rocky Fielding, but he vacated it, right? Shit, I don't know, you guys. Please tell me. I'm supposed to be the one that knows this shit, and I don't. Who's the other 168 champion? God damn it. Why don't I know? Díganme, por favor. The point is, obviously, I think 168, I think Canelo could beat Caleb Smith. I would have loved to see that fight. Caleb Plant, I think, still has not that great of opposition in his resume. And then Benavidez would smack. Benavidez against Canelo would smack, but I don't think they would make that fight right now because something about Canelo doesn't want to fight Mexicans, which I think is bullshit, but who knows? Supposedly that's why he didn't want to fight Zurdo Ramirez because, I don't want to fight another Mexican. No, didn't he vacate it? Because he went to 175. Zurdo went to 175, if I'm not mistaken. Is he still champion? Is he like Canelo that can he's franchise material and he doesn't get penalized and he still gets to keep the belts no matter how many weight classes he jumps? I see lots of similarities with Loma Lopez and Canelo versus Floyd. This is really good comment, Jorge. I definitely agree with you on that. I think obviously Lopez is very special. I think he's going to be champion even if it loses to Lomachenko. I think he's going to go back to being champion after that if Lomachenko decides to go back down in weight, which I think he should do, I'm okay with not seeing Canelo chip. I'm also not okay with not seeing that, but I kind of do want to see it. But the only reason why I won't be too mad if it doesn't happen is because Canelo has so much opposition that he could face that just having a repeat with Triple G would kind of be like, no, first we want all this, right? Now I know the first fight I had it for Triple G. I could see why people would argue a draw because Canelo did very well the first and last 3 rounds. But I think Triple G was a effective aggressor and he was a champ, and Canelo didn't do enough offensively, in my opinion, to win. I had Triple G winning that first one, and then the second one I did have Canelo beating Triple G by 1 round. I really fucked with Canelo's second fight. I was impressed because if you guys remember, he kept saying oh, I'm gonna bully him, and I'm just like, what? You didn't even do that the first time, and he did what they said he wouldn't do, which was fight Mexican style. And they asked for him, Abel, even at the day of the press conference, he says something like, he's not going to fight Mexican style. Why does he fight different against Canelo? And to me, that was a dumbass statement because you don't fight every opponent the same, especially not one like Triple G. You're not going to be like, a ver, pon un putazo. Like, no, you're gonna try to not get hit by that dude. Like, why would you just be like, mete un putazo, no me voy a mover? Like, no, that's just fucking crazy talk. But it looked really bad on their part that they challenged him to take on a Mexican style stance and it backfired immediately. And I was like, I saw the first 3 rounds. I'm like, oh, Canelo's eventually going to turn back to, not doing that. And he did that shit the whole 12 rounds. Now, we did get 24 great rounds by them. Would I want to see 12 more? Yeah. But also, I think given the way that we saw Canelo improve in the second fight and the way we saw him, do so well against Jacobs and the way we saw him, Sergey wasn't that big of a deal. But, like the way we saw Triple G's performance against Devyachenko and Rolls and how he was getting caught and stuff like that, I think we can all draw the conclusion that Canelo would win a third fight comfortably. Or more comfortably. I don't want to say comfortably because Triple G still fucking Triple G. But it would be more comfortable, and I don't think it would be as controversial. Now, it's Canelo. Controversy is always going to be there. I can't think of a fucking Canelo fight that didn't have controversy. So, I want to see it, but I also would rather see everything else. Like, I would love to see him against Kayla Smith. I would like to see him against Benavidez. I would like to see him against Boo Boo, Charlo, somebody else that hasn't had a motherfucking turn. You know what I mean? No time soon. I'm kind of scared for Leo Santa Cruz. Damn, Tank hits hard as fuck. Yeah, I know. Me too. And Leo has a really good defense. I think I said it last time. If you guys notice this fight, he always has his hands covering his face. But can he do that for that long? Especially since, as we know, his opposition has been very lackluster. The last time, in my opinion, that he had a good fight was against Frampton, right? Because just like the Mares fight, like it was good the first time, but the rematch was just like, why? Like, no offense. Like it's good always to see Mexicans just throwing putazos, right? But it's like, I didn't think it was needed. And I was just like, okay. So to me, that didn't count. That didn't count to me. He had already beat Mares anyway. So like, that's just doubling the name. I think with Frampton, he had lost. So it was good to have a second fight and then be champion again, right? So he hasn't had a decent opponent in a while. So why would you like take on fucking Tank? Now, the thing about Tank is that I think he has the potential to be special. Like, I love Tank. And I know that Tank hasn't had the opportunity to showcase his skill because he's usually the bigger guy. He's usually the stronger guy, right? But I think he does have decent boxing ability that he has yet to show. The thing is that he's very undisciplined. Like, he doesn't make weight. Like, how do you move up a whole fucking weight class and still not make weight? Like, that's terrible. We see him taking some Broner-like steps outside of the boxing ring, and it's concerning. So I guess, like, I still want to be like, I think Tank knocks him out. And it's going to be sad because Leo looks like a nice guy. And I don't want to see him folded. Oh, Ben Low again. Ben, you are like the real MVP. Come, you host this. You jump on live with me because you got all the motherfucking answers. Oh, shit. Yeah, Saunders moved up from 160 to 168 and he got that belt. Yes. Oh my God. This is gonna sound mean, especially for UK folks, but Saunders has been irrelevant as fuck, in my opinion, in the last year. What was crazy to me in his last fight, he fought in the undercard for the YouTube fighters, right? And what I remember is that he was fighting this Argentinian dude and he was not doing the best. And the Argentinian dude was like celebrating already because he thought that he was going to be champion and he thought that he had beat Saunders. And then Saunders knocks him out. Was this the 12th round or 11th round? I don't remember, but I just remember that part that the Argentinian dude was like, oh yeah, basically like, I'm going to be champion, like celebrating with his corner. And then here comes BJ Saunders out of nowhere and puts him the fuck to sleep. So thank you, Ben. Oh my God. No, yeah. Gilberto, no. He moved up. Who do you expect Chocolito to fight in his next fight? Didn't read the big... Yeah, he began... I had Estrada is not the card. Is looking for this... Well, I think Estrada was supposed to be his next up because of the unification. Now I would jizz myself as soon as that fucking card gets announced. I think right now Estrada beats Chocolatito. Thing is though, Chocolatito looked great against Jafai. And I was still like scared of Chocolatito fighting Jafai because even though Chocolatito has had more decent victories, and obviously he was proclaimed pound for pound by a lot of people when he had his amazing run with HBO, but he had got knocked fuck out by Rungvisai, and that shit was scary. And I was like, still scared that was gonna, the ghost of Rungvisai was still going to be in the ring, and he was still going to be kind of suffering from that. But no, he took care of Yafai pretty fucking good, and I was impressed. And obviously Yafai was supposed to fight Estrada, right? But Estrada got injured, and then that kind of derailed that. So I would love to see Estrada versus Chocolatito. I don't know. I think what's happening right now is Eddie Hearn's also talking that behind the scenes because, as we know, Chocolatito fought with the Zone for Yafai, for the Yafai fight. Yafai fight. And I'm pretty sure the Zone and Eddie Hearn would love to have Chocolatito back on the platform against their fighter Estrada. So shit, I would love to see it. If not, I don't know who he would fight, but there's a lot of good names in the super flyweight, and I would love to see any of them. BJ's busy trying to find. I'm gonna screen cap this because I'm gonna tweet it later. Okay, this is hilarious. It didn't work. I don't know. This shit's funny, y'all. How are you guys so funny? But that pissed me off too. I don't know if you guys saw the video of him like offering drugs to a woman and like pretending he had drugs, right? It was like in a car. And he was trying to tell her that he had drugs and making her, trying to make her do random shit. What else did he do? He did some other stuff. Oh my God. I'm sorry if I scream. That reminds me, guys. Remember when, I think it was last week, he was on Twitter talking shit to Charlo, calling him a bum. He told him he hadn't fought anybody, and Charlo popped back at him saying, "I'm going to, I'll have a surprise for you and your son," and that thing set me laughing all the way to hell because if you guys remember, Billy Joe's son hit Willie Monroe Jr. in the nuts. He had punched him in the nuts. So I thought it was funny that Charlo straight up said, "I got a surprise for you and your son." To me, kids are off limits. But you're talking shit. But apparently, Charlo thinks otherwise. Stop lying to the fans, man. You lying on Wilder's name. Huh? What did I say about Wilder? Explain yourself, Ned, please. BJ used to say he was like Charlo. Yeah. He said he would slap him, and then Charlo's like, "I got a surprise for you and your son." Thank you, Box 101. It means a lot to me. Let's see. Luke Campbell beats the crap out of Ryan Garcia. You heard it here first. Ralph de Valencia. Is it Chia or K? Because I know Italians. I don't know if you're Italian. That's kind of rude for me to assume. But the two C's are pronounced as like K. Della Vecchia? Is it Della Vecchia? I know because I used to have a boss called Duncan Bocchicchio, and that's how he spelled it. It wasn't Bocchicchio. And I worked at Italian restaurants like all my fucking life. And that's how they pronounce it. But why am I even talking about this? Mace, what the hell are you doing back there, boy? Luke Campbell beats... Okay. Guys, I think this fight is like going to be great too just because of the UK versus US rivalry. And the UK fans are so freaking passionate that it's going to have people talking. And as we know, Ryan doesn't take kindly to people talking smack online and just about him in general. So maybe that will get to his head. People talk. I don't think Campbell's going to be talking smack because he's a decent fellow. But the fans, though, they are. J8. Yes. Now, hello, melodic engineer. That's a nice name. Now, yeah, I would love to see all these fights. Ned, I need you to please like tell me how I'm lying about Wilder. I don't think I even brought up Wilder. Had I brought up Wilder anytime soon? Did I even say anything about Wilder? But speaking, let's talk about him. Wilder. He is actually supposedly is going to have the rematch with Tyson Fury. How do you guys think that will go? Do you guys think that he is going to be victorious in the third fight with Fury? And do you guys think he has a chance? So that since people want to bring up Wilder, let's talk about him. I personally think that I hope he takes a different approach because remember he was making excuses about the outfit being heavy, and I don't know what else he had said. He blamed his trainer too. So I hope he takes a little bit more responsibility because if he doesn't, then there's not going to be any improvement. If he blames any other thing other than Fury was just a better man that night, he's not going to improve. So Wilder will knock him out, I believe. Oh, I mean, he has that equalizer. That's not going to go anywhere, right? So he does have that chance. Wilder will always have that chance, no matter how good their opponent is. Ryan and Luke is official by the WBC. However, they have not yet reached an agreement in the contract. They reached what they called a agreement in principle, which means like we pinky promised the fight's gonna be made. They actually asked for a 7-day extension from the commission to get all the details in the contracts ready. Like might be the money, because as we know, Ryan Garcia wanted along the ballpark of what Devin Haney's getting paid. I don't think the zone got that right now, but he was, all the details. I think they both know that they want to fight each other next, and they've reached that like verbal agreement, and with all parties involved. It's not just Twitter fingering each other. It's not, calling each other out on social media or even to each other. It's all parties involved already said that this fight is going to happen next. They just need an extension ironing out the details. So that's what's it's official, but not really yet. You know what I mean? It's official by the WBC. It's for the interim WBC, if I'm not mistaken. I think Fury cheated. He did. How? What did he do? Oh, you're one of those. Oh, I am? Fury's the better boxer. Wilder needs to go to work and setting up his punches. I think he just doesn't like Wilder relies too much on his power. Like, of course, that's what he's been doing, but not every fighter is going to just take that, And as we know, like in the first fight, Fury got up, and I've never seen any fighter fucking get up from Wilder's punches like that. Well, didn't say anything. Fury cannot box, and Fury's like, yeah, Fury's. It's weird because he looks weird in the ring. Like Fury looks strange. Like he looks like awkward and like lanky. Like he looks weird, but he's really good moving in the ring. I could watch Father Zero fight 5 times. That's how exciting the fight was. I think that was the last fight I watched that I was like super fucking like surprised. I could not believe it. And I think the weirdest shit that I'm like. It's like the universe real. Fury versus Wilder. The second time he knocked him down in the third fight, and then it ended in the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. And then in the Joshua Andy fight, Andy knocked him down the 3rd, and then they finished in the 7th. Like the parallels are like kind of scary to me. I'm a Wilder fan, and I have always believed that the losers of the previous fight had an advantage with the rematch because, in theory, they had the opportunity to make adjustments to make the rematch. That's actually a really, really good point, but it doesn't always work that way. The examples I can think of is Machado versus what's his name, Andrew Cancio. I think he beat him twice, but you're kind of right because that's the only example I can think of. Look at AJ and Andy, and look at Canelo and Triple G, which in my opinion, Canelo lost the first one and he did better in the second one. I think so too. And then even King Kong, who lost anyway to Wilder, looked way better in the rematch than in the first fight. Not like he looked bad in the first fight, but he was looking crisp and landing some bombs on Wilder. I mean, he just got knocked the fuck out. But that is true. Different from the first. Ryan deserves more money than Haney. Ryan fights better opponents. I do agree that he fights better opponents as of right now. But I think since Devin Haney is officially a DAZN fighter, like Devin Haney is officially with Eddie Hearn, he does obviously get like money from Eddie Hearn and from DAZN. Ryan has to depend on Golden Boy to give him that money, which I don't think Golden Boy has. Or if they do, they're not giving it to him, and that's what makes him angry with them, you know? Wilder came in almost 20 pounds too heavy. I don't know why he decided to keep. Yeah, that was the thing, Matthew. I agree. He never goes over that much. Like, he was like one of the lowest weighing heavyweights, right? He's never been a heavy guy. So that also maybe just made him sluggish and more slow. I don't know. There's a lot of things. Maybe in the rematch he will come, more to his usual weight. Oh, Laura, come on live. Oh wait, how do you pronounce it in the UK? Laura, come on live. I say Laura, but when I got a shout out to Laura from Badu Jack in Vegas, he called her Lara, like Eddie Slandy Lara. Jump on live, you beautiful human being. Cancel. What? Deontay Wilder only depends on his right hand, doesn't have a clue how to box. See, I gotta disagree with that because Wilder was in the Olympics. That's why it's called the Bronze Bomber, because he won a bronze medal in the Olympics. So he has to have fundamentals. He has to have skills in boxing. You don't just go to the Olympics and just be like, well, I'm just gonna punch like a buffoon. No, you're going to have some sort of thing. The thing I think happened is he got very, very much used to just knocking motherfuckers out because he has a damn good fucking right hand and good power. So I think he's gotten so comfortable just relying on his power that he didn't have to dig deep. He didn't have to do much of anything else, right? So, shit, I don't know. I just want to know. I'm intrigued to see how he's going to come back. Now, I know a lot of people were like, no, like, why is Wilder asking for a rematch? He's just going to lose. Let Fury fight Joshua. Like, why is he, like, getting in the way? But honestly, he was a champ. If I'm not mistaken, he was the longest reigning champion as of recently, in the recent years for heavyweight. So can you guys let him like get a chance? Like, I think he does deserve it. Now, even though I do think that Wilder lost the first fight too, and the knockdowns just made that a draw. I think he lost both, but he deserves a third fight, especially if it was already in a contract. Definitely a skill, just needs to fine tune things again. Yeah, and I think he should definitely try to spar and practice that instead of just being like, well, I'm just gonna knock this motherfucker anyway, so who cares? Speaking of Golden Boy, what do you think of the lack of Golden Boy cards in the upcoming schedule? There are a couple, but I think that has a lot to do with the zone. Like the zone now obviously has a Friday fight camps. It's Friday here. Is it Saturday in the UK? I don't know. You guys tell me that. I don't know how time zones work. I'm a stupid bitch. But I think that because they have like kind of a partnership with the zone, and the zone doesn't have their schedule. They have that schedule figured out for their fights. Maybe it's between them. That's my guess. Because before they used to just do the fights on Facebook, and I really like that. I liked having fights on Facebook. Or on the Ring TV, they had some too. I think Golden Boy just are probably too on a hiatus because they don't know what's going on with Canelo. Obviously, right now with with Ryan Garcia, they got their hands full on that, trying to figure out the details between Luke Campbell. So I think that's what's happening right now. What I want to see more cards? Yes. Oh, Eric, thank you for bringing that up. As we know, they were supposed to have Linares versus Fortuna, but Linares tested positive for COVID. So since Linares tested positive for COVID, he's out of the fight. And they're thinking like, should we wait like 3 weeks and then make that fight again? Or, which I like the or option better, Tanahara. Throw Tanahara in there. Now, Tanahara was supposed to fight in the undercard with Virgil Ortiz. Not against Virgil, but in that card. And I would love to see Tanahara versus Fortuna. Tanahara versus Fortuna, it's more exciting to me than Linares versus Fortuna. I'm not trying to like trash talk Linares because I said that same thing about Campbell and Ryan, how Campbell's a better opponent than Linares for Ryan. But I would love to see Tanahara against Fortuna. I was ready to see, Tanahara versus Hesta. That shit was going to schmack. And, Hesta got food poisoning because he ate God knows what the day before. And he was like, having the symptoms of food poisoning, which are not pleasant. So he had to withdraw from that fight in the Virgil Ortiz undercard. And Tanahara was left with, vestido y alborotado, basically. So I would love to see Fortuna versus Tanahara instead of them waiting for Linares. So hopefully they salvage that card and that's what they do. I think Tanahara is definitely ready, and I think it would be a good name for Tanahara to have Fortuna. Ryan and Haney have fought equal competition. I don't think so. I mean, I think Ryan a little bit. Haney has for Ruiz and Garcia. I think Ryan has a little bit of better opposition. What do you think about Andy Ruiz? He'll come back and fall. That's another thing that I'm intrigued to look at too. The thing with Andy, didn't they say Andy was supposed to fight Areola? I think I saw that Andy was supposed to fight Chris Areola, and I would love to see that one. Because with Andy right now, like he has to start from the bottom all over again. I don't think his last performance against Joshua and the way that, in my opinion, he disrespected the sport, he disrespected his trainer, he disrespected the fans, and he disrespected all of Mexicans because he should, dang, bro, close the door. He should have taken the rematch even more seriously than when he first won, because in the first one, everybody was doubting him, right? So is it historical? Yes, but everybody was doubting him. So, he rose to fame. Now, stick to that. Show motherfuckers why you did what you did and prove that you deserve, that it wasn't a fluke. And he didn't. So, in my opinion, he doesn't deserve any fights with the top motherfuckers right now. I think Areola's a nice one. Those guys, even the guy who just lost recently to, what's his name? The guy who looks like a baby. You guys know, not Baby Miller. Like, the guy who recently lost too on PBC. He has like a weird name. Nowaki. Guy, look, he's bald. That'd be a good fight because they both lost. I mean, Andy didn't get knocked out, but that'd be a good Kawaki. What's his name? Y'all tell me, because I'm a dumb bitch. Wilder versus White would be sick. Nah. And again, close the door. No, honestly, White hasn't looked great either. Andy versus White. I would like to see Andy Ruiz versus White, because I think that'd make more sense. Nah, he hasn't fought anybody. He's got really good money for fighting his last opponent, which in my opinion was like, he got a lot of money. Ryan hasn't fought anybody either. He's fought better names though. Ryan has fought guys that have fought other decent guys. Like Jason Velez fought Jojo Diaz and went the distance with Jojo Diaz too. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good name to have. Carlos Morales, maybe you don't know who he is, but he's very popular here in SoCal. And he got knocked out by the Linares in the third round in the last fight on Valentine's Day. But he gave Ryan a good fight, and he's also a decent guy here in SoCal. So he's fought, I guess, a lot of people that live in SoCal and are like in touch with the SoCal boxing scene, we think are decent. You know what I mean? But I can see why people would. I can see your point, J8, and I can definitely understand why you would say that. Fight top challenges. They gave to him. Fortuna promoter admitted they turned down Haney to fight Campbell. That's true. If you're fighting like mandatories, and I guess he's lying. Who's lying? Can you use proper nouns instead of like pronouns? Because I don't know what. I'm way behind the comments. I don't know who he is. Haney's fighting enough fighters from TJ. Hey, those fighters from TJ though are rugged. Andy can bounce back versus Ortiz. I would smack. I would love to see Ortiz because Ortiz can still beat Andy, but Andy has fast ass hands. So who knows? Simon, that boy Andy Ruiz let me down. Yes, Eric. He let me the fuck down. And I had a shirt. Let me show you guys the shirt that I bought. Okay. Let me see. Let me show. I bought this. I bought this shirt to watch the fight in, and then I was looking stupid after. This was by Five Possium. I think that's how you say his name. I'm Mexican, and I was brought here as a child, so my accent, I know it's weird. Don't make fun of me. um, so imagine me wearing this shirt, being like, "Yeah, rematch, woo, Andy, let's go." Especially because I know Andy personally. Well, not like we're friends and shit, but I would always go to Legends where he was training. I knew Andy since he was with fucking Top Rank and fighting in Fresno cars no one gave a fuck about. So he also followed me on Instagram and Twitter before those accounts got deleted. So we were homies. I think I have a screenshot of when he was trying to get the fight with Joshua, and he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, please like post this because I'm trying to get the fight with Joshua and I need Eddie Hearns to see it. So blow this shit up." I'm like, "Okay, I'll help you." So I was like wearing that in my living room, eating menudo because it was like 9 in the morning when the card started. And I'm like, bien vergas, ahí sentada. I was like, and then that was like the most disappointed 12 rounds of my fucking life. And I felt foolish. So shout out to I think it's Possium, who makes these shirts, and he makes like a bunch of cool graphics like this, like comic like. You could see it there. I think it's like mirrored, but right there, that's his name. Follow him on Twitter. He makes really cool shit. So yeah, I look fucking dumb wearing that after. Fucking stupid. No way. Yes way. I look dumb. Unless you're talking about something else, then I don't know. Ryan fought Duna and was supposed to expose them. Yeah, so again, about this HN. Fucking hell yeah. Us in SoCal here know that Duno had already ruined one of Golden Boy's top prospects back. What was it? 2000. What was that? 2017? But Chimpa was supposed to be like a big deal for Golden Boy, and he was filling out the Belasco, right? In local cards, he was it. But Duno knocked him the fuck out, right? And I think they were expecting Ryan to have a really hard time with this kid. And I can see how people are like, who the fuck is this guy? But to us SoCal people, like, we knew who Duno was. So yeah. We'll talk. Well, Ruiz Arreola would be surprisingly good. Ruiz has some to prove, and Arreola is willing to throw. Arreola is always like he gives the best fights, and I know that I think he said he was retiring, but come on, like, please don't retire. Like, he gives us some bangers, man. I personally think Gervonta Davis is one of the best fighters at 135. Oh, yes, I agree, Ralph. You still haven't told me how the fuck you pronounce your last name. I'm just kidding. I'm just being passive aggressive. I'm sorry. Yes, Ralph. I think he's one of the best. I just wanted to make weight and like make better fucking choices. Haney needs to step up his competition sometime soon. I hope that he will now that he's champion. Because he's champion now. So I hope so. How will Tank respond to all those punches Leo throws? Yeah, Leo is a high volume puncher. Thing is, maybe if Tank throws, doesn't if Leo can take the punches that Tank throws, I think his volume punching, and if he throws a lot to the body, he maybe, fold tank. I don't think Leo has the power for that, but those body shots can maybe wear off in the distance, and that'd be interesting to see. I just want to see it. It's like one of those fights that you're like, why did that get made? But you're still like, ooh, I still want to know. Devin Haney says if Gamboa wasn't Tank and Crawford did. So I think that's what Devin wants to fight him then. Devin wants to fight Gamboa because he knows that fans like measuring stick style fights, right? He's like, they're just going to know this more of a measuring stick, and I'm gonna look better than them type of shit. I don't blame him. On no Naki. Yes, no Naki. He got knocked out, right, by a lumberjack looking dude. Dang, I'm way behind in the comments. Yes, Naki won the fight next AJ. I want to see Andy. Yeah, Andy versus White. Now, if you guys remember Andy and White always have had like Twitter finger beefs, and he was like talking shit about Andy being fat, right? Like White was like, "Oh, you're fat" or something. But in his last fight, White had titties. Like he had more titties than I did. So why is he like talking about someone being fat when he was like not in the best shape of his life? I don't know. Hopefully within a year, I want to see Mikey Garcia versus Pacquiao. I think that fight is amazing. The thing is, it's funny when Mikey Garcia was getting ready for his fight against Robert Easter Jr. I went to RGB and I interviewed him. And you can find that interview here in the channel. And I asked him, like, oh, what about fighting Manny Pacquiao? And he's like, yeah, that fight doesn't really interest me right now. I want to fight the best. And he got so much hate for it. 99.9% of the comments I got in that video were all just talking shit to Mikey. Like, how dare you? Like, Pacquiao will still beat your ass. Like, those comments are intense. Like, if you have a chance after this, go look for it. People were mad. People were big mad. And then now he's very, very much interested in the Manny Pacquiao fight. I think because he saw what he did to Thurman. And I think Mikey's one of those guys that even though people around him tell him stuff like, hey, don't do this, especially with Spence, he's going to do it por sus huevos, because he wants to. And he's the impulsive person to do those type of things. And I understand that because that's how I am. Like, it's crazy how much Robert and the whole camp emphasized that they told Mikey, don't fight Spence and don't fight these, don't stay at 147, but he wants to, and it's his choice, So against Pacquiao, that shit was schmack because they're both like similarly sized. It's not like there won't be the excuse of, well, he's just big, because Spence was just monstrous in comparison to Mikey. So I would love to see it. I would love to see that shit. I hope so. And hopefully, like I said, okay, so what was happening when we saw Mikey versus Vargas in Texas, they were asking Eddie Hearn about possibly having Mikey back on the zone, and he said that that he was going to want to have Mikey back on the zone, and he would want to have Pacquiao on the zone too. So I'm pretty sure Hearn would throw fucking money at that fight if it, once Manny becomes a free agent, possibly, to have that fight on the zone, and maybe in fucking Saudi Arabia, because he looks like he would do some shit like that. I obviously would not want that shit in Saudi Arabia, but he looks like he'd do that for extra cash, to please the prince of Saudi Arabia. Mikey needs a KO convincing win for Pac-Man. I don't think he's ready. I have to disagree with you. I think he's more than ready. He's more than a seasoned fighter. He's paid his dues. He's a 3 or 4 division world champ. 126, 130, 135, 4 division world champ, because he was doing this when he was fighting Spence, because he was saying 5 division. Hi, Aiden. 5 division, right? He was doing this. So 4. He's a 4 division. I had to count them. He's a 4 division world champ. So I think he's more than ready. If it's ready, it's now. So I would love to see it. Ryan doesn't get enough credit for the Duno win. Yeah, I think Duno was a prospect killer. Like, he was known. And I was honestly thinking, because remember when Avery Sparrow got arrested here in Carson because, I don't know, something about a gun or something. And Ryan was left without an opponent. People are saying, okay, just fight Duno and Delgado will get paid like a fee. Just he'll still get paid his purse, right, without having to fight. And they didn't want to, right? They didn't want to. So at that point, I was like, oh, pinche Ryan, like he doesn't want to fight Duno on short notice, man. You know, like I was like, man. Little did I know this was gonna happen. I was like, and yeah. Oh wait, I don't know which show you're talking about. This one or the Andy fight one, but you know. Darren wants to make a statement. I want to see a statement made. Pacquiao fines are crazy. Yeah, like whenever I like post a video too, like, and I talk about Pacquiao to like when I interviewed Jesse Vargas, I asked him about Pacquiao and if possibly wanting a fight with him next again, just cause. And everybody's like, why are you bringing up Pacquiao? Stop using him for clickbait. I'm like, I was just asking, like, my bad fucking caption police, fucking Pacquiao police. I'm like, I'm sorry for bringing up your king's name in conversation with another fucking welterweight. My bad. I'll fucking not do that now. Ugh, Jesus. Just that Spence. I just want to go back to seeing fights in person, y'all. Like, I cannot wait to go back and see this freaking crowd and hear everybody yell and all of that. Yeah, hello. So that's all I want to see, you guys. I just want to see good fights. Tell me, which fights are you guys looking forward to the most, though? Like, we have a stacked PBC schedule. So which fights do you guys want to see? Saludos desde Los Ángeles. Well, I live in Long Beach, so estamos cerquita de Long Beach, Los Ángeles. Yo trabajo en Los Ángeles cuando trabajaba, porque ahorita con el pinche coronavirus no puedo. Coronavirus. Pacroid. See, with Pacquiao, there's a lot of people that say that he took some stuff that he had to because his head and because who the fuck jumps 8 weight classes like that? Who does that? He's the only person to have it. Look at this pimple the size of fucking Saturn. But I don't know. There's never been proof, so I can't say that, Yeah, you guys, we had a really good conversation. I think if more news come out, I don't think I'm going to go live this week anymore. Probably maybe Sunday. We could do like a Sunday live type of thing to discuss the fights that we watched on Saturday, to see how Benavidez looked. You know what I mean? But if more news comes out this week, I think I am going to be making like little videos, just like update videos of what's happening and stuff. But I love lives, but I feel like it's already been an hour and a half and it doesn't feel like it's been an hour and a half. And I feel like I don't want you guys to be like, damn, bitch, get off. Want to see my neighbor's drunk fight again. It's funny because now that you mentioned that, when I lived in San Pedro, my neighbors, I had never heard them watch boxing before, like ever. Like I had never heard them watch boxing. And that day when AJ was fighting Andy, like the second time, they're Mexican, of course. They were outside, like barbecuing, and they had a TV out. They had a TV outside, and were watching that fight. They had that card on, and I'm like, oh, Andy disappointed them too. Like, I didn't fight, but Hey Jay, thank you for joining. You have a good night or day, whatever. Yes, Tanahara. That's what I was talking about. What the streets created. I was talking about Tanahara possibly replacing Linares, since Linares got COVID. He got the coronavirus, and he's out of the fight with Fortuna. So I would love to see Tanahara there. Los Angeles Zombie, they're still in California, living super expensive. Bruh, I have a little 2-bedroom apartment, and it's expensive. So I feel you. You guys, as you know, I do have Twitter. I do have Instagram. I have wait, that's not it. I do have like a bunch of Instagram requests because my profile is private. So if you're trying to follow me on Instagram, shoot me a message and tell me that you're from the live or that you're from YouTube, because I'm not like really accepting a lot of people right now because people are fucking weirdos. And if I know that it's someone from here, then I'll accept them. So shoot me a message if you are trying to follow me on Instagram, which is Billy O. Saunders. Twitter is Chicanita with 2 eyes. And it's hard to spell. I know that. So that's why I put it down right here. And follow me and then say hi in the DMs. when there's a new fight announced, we can talk about it. Again, if there's more stuff coming out this week, news wise, like boxing related, I'll hop on real quick, make a quick video, tell you guys what's going on, and then instead of doing like fucking hour and a half live. I just like talking to y'all. I like the interaction. There's nothing going on right now because of the coronavirus. So it's good to hop on and read you guys' comments. Thank you guys for tuning in, especially on a fucking Tuesday. And definitely let me know if you'd rather have like these live some other day. I'm free all the time. I ain't got shit to do. So please let me know. And you guys have a good night. Follow me on my socials. Subscribe. Obviously, if you're here, you're probably already fucking subscribed. If not, subscribe. Tell your homies, tell your baby mama, tell your Sanchos, tell your Sanchez. There's a girl named Xicana Boxing. She's on YouTube and she makes cool boxing content. Well, not right now because, there's not much going on and I can't cover fights, but you get the gist. You want to say bye, Aiden?
Bye, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Aiden Show.
I don't know if you guys can hear that. He said hi. No. Xicana, Sexicaria. No, it's Xicana. All right, you guys have a good night. Hopefully we get somewhere with the Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko fight. Or like someone said earlier, I'm going to fucking jump off a fucking cliff. All right? Have a good night, y'all. Subscribe. And thank you, Ulises, for the super sticker. Sorry I'm already leaving, even though you probably just got in here. I don't know if you've been here a while or you just got in here. I'm sorry. I've been here for an hour and a half. I'm pretty sure we've talked about most of the shit that had been going on this week. So next week we'll get on again on Tuesday. If you guys want to do it another day, go ahead and message me and tell me, hey, like you should do it this day. And then we'll probably do that because I'm free all the fucking time. All right, guys. Have a good night. Miguel, fuck you. Man, Miguel. You guys suck. Miguel, next time I'm bringing you on here with an anonymous mask. All right, you guys.